My Lords, I declare a non-financial interest as President of Migration Watch. Your Lordships will be aware that this organisation has represented an important aspect of public opinion for over 20 years. Indeed, I note a recent YouGov poll which found that 34% of the British public now see immigration and asylum as one of the three most important issues facing our country. They're right. My Lords, the scale of illegal immigration has now reached the point at which it engages much wider considerations. These include the credibility of our borders, the scale of net migration, the cost of a failing asylum system, and the reputation of the government for straight dealing with those who elected them. That said, I commend the noble Lord Wolfson for his impressive overview of the wider issues. And it was the noble Lord Reid who pointed to some of the practical difficulties. My Lords, I'll make 3 points. First, the scale of the problem. The Minister himself listed 4 groups of those offered asylum here in the past year. The total I made was about 167,000. That is a huge number, to which must be added legal net migration, which has run at about 250,000 a year for the last 20 years. My Lords, many of those now crossing the Channel are not simply seeking asylum. Most have already passed through at least one safe country. Indeed, thousands have made asylum claims elsewhere, many of which were rejected. These arrivals are therefore those who seek not just sanctuary, but the most convenient destination for their future plans. A very different thing, it seems to me. And I note in passing that 80% of arrivals are men aged between 20 and 40. My Lords, looking more widely around the world, there are now, as the noble Lord Reid mentioned, some 80 million displaced people, of whom many millions might qualify for asylum in Western countries. It follows that there is bound to be growing pressure on the borders of Europe and consequently on the Channel route. Secondly, our asylum system is already overwhelmed. Last year, as we all know, 28,000 crossed the Channel in small boats and arrived here without prior permission. How many were removed? As the noble Lord Paddock said, 5. 5 out of many thousands. My Lords, for too long, successive governments have conceded to the asylum lobby at every point. That is the essential reason why the system is now so close to collapse. Removal of failed asylum seekers lies at the heart of any effective asylum policy. Yet we now find that there are 80,000 immigration offenders living among the public. That is roughly the size of the British Army. And yet the current system costs not £1 billion, as the Minister said, it's £1,500 million, and clearly is in serious need of an overhaul. So thirdly, my Lords, the time has surely come to move to a much tougher system of accommodation centres, an idea only touched on in Clause 12. Accommodation in 4-star hotels can only be a huge pull factor. Claimants should in future be obliged to stay in accommodation centres until their cases have been decided. Any claimant leaving the centre without permission should find his or her application automatically rejected. Health and security checks could be carried out on the spot, and asylum courts should be co-located to speed up consideration of cases. Easily said, not easily done, but probably the only way forward. Such changes would achieve better and faster decisions, but they would be useless without effective removal. So there must be a renewed effort to secure effective return agreements with countries of origin. Finally, my Lords, if fundamental reform cannot be achieved within the present legal framework, the government should, yes, re-examine the 1951 Convention and the ECHR in the face of continuing, massive and uncontrolled illegal entry. The public will be right to demand no less.